And I felt sorry for these kids. I'm like, baby, are you okay? Because there was no parent around and the little baby just went flying. And as a parent, that hurt my heart, because I'm a parent. But, they just went flying. So, hello, everyone, and welcome to our channel. As you can see, I am joined here with my husband, Mr. Essentials, because that's what I've called him before, right? So, anywho, let's get right into the top 15 mistakes that first cruisers make when they are cruising with their family, and you would want to stay to the end because these are great tips, and it includes a bonus 16th tip. So, let's get started. Number one, choosing early dining instead of late dining. Now, this is something we didn't know about at all when our kids went to the youth program. We always get early dining because we like to go to the different comedy shows and have time after the in the evening do whatever we want to, go to the club, get a couple of drinks, whatever it may be. So we chose early dining. Well, upon getting back on land, my children advised me that that wasn't the best idea. The program has a built in break during the late dining hours. And if you have early dining, your kids may have to leave and they're not able to be a part of the scheduled activities. So part of their fun is broken up. So you would want to avoid early dining if you're traveling, especially with tweens, 13 and up, or teens, so that they can partake in all of the activities that the youth program has to offer. Next, not explaining gratuities to teens and kids when giving charging abilities. Now, gratuities are charged on all purchase automatically, especially when it comes to any type of drink purchase, whether it's a soda, a water, actual alcoholic drink, or even a mocktail, which we did purchase for our kids. We did get them mocktails, and it's an 18% gratuity. And so if you don't explain that to your child, then they might be feeling, really wonderful about the service they got. Or they want to, be a little bit more generous and they'll provide an additional tip. Now, tipping is up to you. Now, number three, not paying for the chat plan. Now, admittedly, we like to travel and spend as little money as possible, still enjoy ourselves, right? But being too cheap to pay $5 for a chat plan is just not where we're going with this one. You need to be able to keep in contact with your kids on a carnival ship, on any ship. Honestly, it only right? Costs $5 per person. It works with the free Wi-Fi that's on board the ship, so you don't have to worry about purchasing a Wi-Fi plan to use it. The number one reason why you should pay for a chat plan is because it makes keeping track of your kids that much easier, especially if they're teenagers. Like, you don't want to be hovering, but you do want to know where they are. Now, on to tip number four, not packing correctly for onboard weather. I have a previous video, which we're going to link somewhere up here, about the things you need to do 30 days before you cruise with your family. While it's great to check the weather 30 days before, you have to pack for the weather on board. Just because it's going to be 100 degrees in the Bahamas or wherever you may be, it is not going to be that same temperature on that ship. You have to remember that you are moving on water. You're moving through water. It gets cold, even in the summertime on that ship. You need to have at least a light jacket in the summertime, or if you're sailing in the fall or the winter, or even the spring, you might want to put on layers, maybe have a light hoodie or a heavier hoodie in the winter. You don't want to be caught out there on the ship and it's freezing and you're trying to be at a sail away party. I'm just saying, it gets kind of cold. Not like I'm speaking from personal experience or anything. The next thing is not packing proper foot attire. As a parent, my heart was breaking for some of those kids. Now, the decks, if you first time cruisers would not know, but those decks are cleaned nightly. And how they clean them is they, like you would see in it, like a old, what is the things called? A old pirate movie or something like that, where they're swabbing the deck. Well, yeah, they really do swab the deck at night. It really is wet, not just from the ship moving through the water, but also from them cleaning off the decks. And so when you get up in the morning, the decks can be wet. And I saw several children running around with those cute little fashion sandals we like to have on our little girls. And I saw several children fighting, like hard. And I felt sorry for these kids. I'm like, baby, are you okay? Because there was no parent around and the little baby just went flying. And as a parent, that hurt my heart, because I'm a parent. But they just went sad. So think about what you're putting on your children. They need to have a pair of rubber sole shoes. Now it's fine to have some flip flops or whatever you're going to use, water shoes when you get out the pool. But once you get out the pool, you shouldn't be taking more than 5 or 10 steps in them shoes. Because let me tell you, if you're getting out the pool, the water's coming out with you. It's getting on the deck and it's going to be wet. It's a lot of wet areas along the ship. Just make sure you have the right foot attire. Number 6, not using the babysitting services. Baby, let me tell you, if we knew about the babysitting services when our children were under 12, I guarantee you, we would have cruised a lot more. We would have cruised a lot more. And I'm sure it wouldn't cost as much as it does now. So the babysitting service is best for families that are cruising with children who are younger than 12. Okay. It is available each night of the sailing from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Hear me clearly. 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. The comedy shows that we like to go to, the R-rated show, starts usually at 10 p.m. So that's perfect, right? Well, it's 750 per hour. And had I known that, we would have cruised a lot more often, because our thing was that we wasn't going to be able to enjoy ourselves on the cruise ship at the R-rated, you know, comedy show, or go to the club, because we have to have the kids in tow. Well, you don't have to have the kids in tow. It's 750 per hour. Now, there are some caveats for that, right? You do need to talk to the program director when you get on board ship, and that's usually on the 12th deck or wherever they have the youth program. You can contact them or guest services and find out if they're going to have it available for children that are 6 months to about 2 years old. That depends on the sailing. But you have to remember to pick up your kids on time, because if you don't pick up your kids on time, number one, that price doubles. So instead of 750, you paying $15 now. Don't nobody need that per hour, right? And then if you do it too many times, they will take away your privilege. So be sure to be cautious about it and use it when you need to, but don't abuse it. And they do keep in contact with you. If anything was to happen, even if you were in port and you left your kids on the ship, yes, you can do that. You can go in port and leave your kids on the ship, and it's perfectly fine. And they will have a way to contact you if you are taking an excursion through Carnival, but that's another video. Now, if you've been watching our content and you are enjoying our content, please go ahead and watch more of our videos about saving on cruise ships, with your family, without your family, with your kids. Family can mean a lot of people, okay? And we really appreciate if you just like and share. Even give us a comment below on what you find to be the best tip in this video, or one if you have a tip of your own. Now, this next tip is a little bit controversial. Some people might not like it, but number 7 is bring a smaller stroller on board. The mistake people do is they bring that giant stroller, but it has no place on the cruise ship. And the reason why is because those walkways are extremely narrow, and it is hard for a person in a wheelchair to get through. You got this big old stroller, and the other person is kind of recessing themselves into the wall trying to get out your way because you have a child. If they're respectful, some people won't do that at all. So just keep that in mind. What you can do, and I'm going to link some down below, and I'm going to get you a picture up here. Get you one of those little travel strollers that don't cost as much. Because if I went into port with my $400 stroller and accidentally left, or something happened to my $400 stroller, I would not be happy. So why even go through all of that drama, right, babe? Just go ahead and get you a cheaper stroller. And if you lose it, oh well, it's lost, but it didn't cost you an arm and a leg. There you go. Number 8. I'm gonna try not to laugh during this one because what happened was so funny. But number 8, one of the biggest mistakes that first time cruisers make is not explaining buffet etiquette to your children. Now, not everybody eats at buffet. Certainly, we are not a super buffet family, right? We don't typically do buffets, but when in Rome, eat like the Romans, right? So anyway, make sure that you explain to your children to use the proper bowls and cups to get the food that they want to get. To use a new cup each time they go get something to drink, or a new plate and get new um, silverware. The reason why I say this is because on our last cruise, my God, my God, my God, these babies, they have fun with that ice cream machine. I mean, when they had fun, they was upside down under the ice cream, just getting it. Like they was like this, right here, like this. But ice cream. It will be best if you explain to your children that that is not the proper way to get ice cream, and they should not be licking their hands and getting pizza in depth. That's just not good. Most cruise ships do have a hand washing or at minimum a hand sanitizer. You just make sure the kids stick they every time they walk their hand they self in there. Stick your hand under there and at least get some hand sanitizer. If you're not gonna use the hand washer because other people have to touch what you've been touching, but mainly just stop the kids from going upside down in the ice cream machine. That's all I'm saying. Number 9, not planning a meal on board together. That is a huge mistake. You guys are on a ship. It may be for 3 days, it may be for 14 days, it may be for 21. Heck, they got some that go around the world, right? You need to plan time together as a family because even though it's a vacation, you do want to spend some time. You want to know what your kids are doing. You want to check in with them and see if it's okay. Are they coming into any problems with other adults or even other teens or the staff? Like you want to just keep abreast on what's going on. I've heard horror stories of grown men um, dancing with underage girls in clubs and not, they weren't doing the hokey pokey. So you do want to do that. You want to keep some time around for the family. Um, Tip number 10, not bringing enough cash on board to use in port. Now, every cruise we've been on, the cruise ship ATMs tend to run out of money at least by midnight. I mean, people just go crazy, right? But if you haven't thought about that ahead of time, then you won't have any cash on hand. You'll have to go when you get in the port. You're in foreign port. You don't want to be putting your credit card or your debit card into a machine you don't know nothing about. So it's best to make sure that you create a budget, number one, and then you stick to that budget by bringing the cash on board. You can put it in your safe. You can split it up between you, your loved ones, to make sure, just in case somebody robs you, they don't take all your money. Now, speaking of creating a cruise budget, we have created a cruise budget planner that includes not only a cruise budget, but it also includes our packing list as well as our shopping list and instructions on how to use it. If you're interested in it, it'll be linked at the bottom in the description below. Number 11, choosing the wrong ship or the wrong cruise line. Now, I'm a travel advisor, but I haven't always been a travel advisor, right? I've cruised a lot, haven't always been a travel advisor, but I did learn over the years that the cruise ship or line that you choose will make a huge difference. Now, there are different things that different cruise ships offer. Royal Caribbean does offer a lot more interesting things for tweens and teens to do, whereas Princess is a cruise line that offers a lot more ways of keeping track of your young ones with their medallion class. But with Carnival, you kind of have a mixture between the two, and that's why we prefer Carnival. So you really need to think about what the port activities are and how they may be restricted by age. And you also have to think about the overall atmosphere. Are you looking for a party ship? Are you looking for something that's laid back? Are you looking for that has older people? Just from our experience with teens, you do not want to be on a cruise ship with a lot of older people. They're just going to be bored. They're going to be bored if there's nothing for them to do. Number 12, not limiting charging abilities on your Sail and Sign account. Now, what we chose to do on our last cruise was to use one credit card for our Sail and Sign account that the whole family used in order to charge on the cruise. Now, you can use a cash account. That's fine. It works pretty much the same way. You can still give your kids charging ability, but you should be limiting the amount they can spend while you're on the cruise. And if they go over that amount, you can always increase it with customer service or find another way to deal with it. But you would want to limit their charging abilities. The last thing you want is to get that little paper shoved over your door or get that phone call from customer service saying, hey, we need you to settle your account with more cash. And you're in the middle of the sea. And you didn't listen to my previous tip and get you some cash before you got on board. So that's going to be a problem. So just save all the drama, limit your kids' charging abilities, and increase it if you need to. Number 13, I can't say this enough, not arriving at least one day early. You never know what you're going to encounter because of the FAA, staffing shortages, there's a backup on I-90, whatever, freeways falling. It's all kinds of things that can happen when you're on your way to your cruise ship. Let me tell you, you don't want to be stressed trying to get your vacation started. You don't want to be rushing from the airport and barely make it there on time to pull out. Moving on to tip number 14, choosing a bad cabin location. Oh my goodness. This is a huge one. Now, your cabin location is going to depend on your family and their mobility needs, right? So, if you have someone who needs a wheelchair or can't move it up the stairs, they walk with a cane or any type of assistance that they need, then it's probably best for you to stay closer to midship where you have more elevators that are going up and down and they have less to walk to get to the different activities. However, if that is not a situation from you, I'm going to give you a few pointers. Number one, stay away from aft or front. Okay, and if you're familiar with what that is, forward is the front of the ship, aft is the back of the ship. And if you want to stay away from those 2 points of the ship if you have somebody who experiences vertigo or motion sickness. My daughter is motion sick, and we stayed towards the aft of the ship because she felt better that way. Each person is different, so what works for one will not work for the other. For instance, I have another family member who also gets motion sickness and is afraid of heights, but tends to like to stay in the on the higher deck towards the forward part of the ship, right? So it depends on the person. If you're not very sure, then stay away from the aft part of the ship, the back, or the forward, and try to stay more towards the middle. So if you want to acquire experience, you want to find a cabin that has cabins underneath, meaning the deck underneath is nothing but cabins and the deck above is nothing but cabins. Now, again, a travel advisor will be able to help you determine that. But if you're not willing to use a travel advisor, or you're like unsure of how that works, then you could just go and download the deck plan yourself from the website. It'll show you. You can look. It'll say right there. Our number 15 reason, mistake, whatever you want to call it, is not giving your kids their freedom on board, people. We have to give our kids a limit. You have to. When they're 13 and over, they're coming into adulthood, young adulthood. And if you don't give them that freedom, it may feel more like a field trip than a vacation to them. It's just as much their vacation as it is yours. So why not give them freedom? And let me tell you a couple other reasons why you should give them their freedom. Number one, it gives you some alone time. Like, you know, we kept bumping into the kids, but not in the cabin. You feel what I'm saying? We were going to go do our thing. They were going to do their thing. We see each other over some pizza, and then we keep going. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot. You don't want to schedule your kids' entire day. Let them do it. They have the app. Make sure they download the app before you guys get on a cruise ship. Make sure they take a look at all the different activities they can take part in. The whole fun times, which used to be on paper, which I think they're coming back to being on paper. And we got ours from Java Blue. I'll see if I can find one. But they have it all sitting there. And all you have to do is let them go and do their thing. And now we come to our bonus tip. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Be sure to pack swim clothes in your carry-on along with a change of clothes. That way the kids can get their vacation started a little bit earlier, and so can you. If the kids have their swim clothes, they can go and have something to do for the 4 hours you're going to be on that ship before it pulls off. Have you ever wanted to know what it's like to be in one of those youth programs and you want to hear from a real teenager? I got you covered. Go ahead and take a look at this video, and we'll see you next time. Ciao.